Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, we're taking a look here today at SNX, which is Synthetix. Now, all technicals aside, this actually has really good fundamentals, so be sure to check that out in your own time. Always recommend you do your own research, and just know that I'm not a financial advisor. This is always for educational purposes only, but in my 15 years of tenure as a trader, I've learned a thing or two. I have about an 80% success rate. So just know that you're in good hands here moving forward. Take what you can from my videos, my trainings here essentially, and make sure you apply your own style to it, right? Because just because I'm successful doesn't mean you're going to be successful. We have to kind of develop our own trading habits because we all have different risk tolerances. Okay. Now, if you're more of an autopilot, or perhaps you just like to kind of learn, by osmosis or just in general, I have a signal group, link in the description below, where I send out signals typically about 3 to 5 per week of swing trades, hodl trades, just overall provide best practice news, everything you needed to know to be more of an effective trader. And it's been a really great experience. We're close to 50 members already in just over 2 months. So thank you so much to my patrons. In fact, the reason why I'm making this video is because I sent out a signal for Synthetix recently, and we are currently profitable right now. Okay, I don't want to kind of reaffirm the fact that this is still a good coin, and we're going to take a look at that here today. So bear that in mind as well. If you're new to the channel, consider joining up there and joining the fun. If not, that's okay too. Learn what you can from this video and move on. So I hope you have a good rest of your day after you watch this video. Without further ado, let's get right to the charts. Let's check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Synthetix. And just before we do, we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first. So if you're new to the channel, I always look at that to get a baseline of the market because we need to know what Bitcoin is doing to obviously identify why these altcoins are taking off. But more importantly, a lot of coins are on the ERC20 blockchain as well. We'll look at that too when it comes to Ethereum. So first things first, we always take a look here at Bitcoin 4-hour. Oh, to preface, I apologize. I use TradingView.com desktop application. Figure I include that. I get that question every time, and I do recommend the paid versions because it does allow for you to essentially be able to have more than 2 indicators present at any given time. Link in the description below for a free month. See if you like it. Maybe try before you buy. Check that out in your own time. All right, so looking here at Bitcoin. Obviously, we've had a pretty good 48 hours, okay? So the price is above 200 and the 50-day simple moving average now. So we're back on track, for lack of better terms. So definitely looking good there. Also note we have a major resistance that just broke. So that's considered a support now at 46,800. We've actually got this nice upper channel here. So we're back in this upper channel and essentially looking pretty good, for lack of better terms. And the main reason here is because when it got sold off, of course, with this major candlestick here on the 7th, it took a little while to consolidate and kind of come back, right? The larger the fall, the longer it takes to recover. You got to kind of remember that. But that being said, 44,000 to 46,800 was the channel we were in previously, with these little minor channels within. But simply put, we're looking pretty good here, and it does look like the price might be rejecting off 48,300 as a close approximate. So 43.8 may be the next resistance, and it might work itself into that channel. We'll see here soon. Notoriously, September is a red month, so keep that in mind as well. We might see further retracement here in the near future. It might bounce up to 50 and then retrace back down. We'll see what happens, but all in all, Bitcoin is doing fairly well. It has a pretty healthy bull run where the price comes up, consolidates, increases, consolidate. So hypothetically, another couple hours, we could see another increase in price based on the fact that it is kind of performing the same function here. All right, so moving on to Ethereum. Not really much to note here except for the fact that it is likely going to break above the resistance of 35.50. So that's a good sign here. If you look at the one-day chart, this candlestick will likely close above. We've got about 50 minutes left in this run here, so if Ethereum can close above, we'll be in good shape to probably have it in this upper tier between 35.50 and 41.50. Okay, so basically a $600 margin there essentially. There's a few other support and resistance levels we can worry about later, but for now the important thing is for the price to close above this level. Okay, so Ethereum, all in all, pretty good shape as well. So let's go ahead and take a look here at Synthetix. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. So first of all, one-day chart. Great news. Yesterday, the price broke above the resistance and closed above. Okay, that's awesome news. So the resistance level of 1360 is now support. I was sent out that notification to my patrons yesterday as well, asking them to kind of get in. The price jumped up like that. It is important to make sure to to jump on that when you can. And as you can see now, even still, I think we're still in very good shape to have a continuation of this run, because the SNX was planning to take off previously, but it got stunted out for that recent sell-off from Bitcoin. Okay, and as we can see, SNX does very, very well. Why don't we go ahead and mark some of the resistance levels here? So we got that for you. We got a major one here as well. In case you're wondering, I'm not just picking these out of a hat. You use the one-day chart primarily for major support and resistance levels. I'm taking the places in which you see more than one retracement or more than one rejection. So obviously the price got rejected here and rejected there. Therefore, $27, I think it is. Yep, right around. That's interesting. Isn't it funny? Because major resistance and support levels occur at round numbers. So 27,000 is essentially a round number. That's $27 is not 2701 or 2690. It's 27 even. So 27 even is a major resistance. We've got a secondary resistance at about 2350, and obviously the price all the way down where it's at right now. So we got plenty of room for growth here. We could probably kind of find some other support and resistance levels here if we kind of dig around, but for right now, we'll just kind of leave that as is. The main thing here is the price is above the 200-day simple moving average. So we've got not only the 200, but also the support of 1360 kind of working as like a dual support here. In addition, we got the 50-day simple moving average working its way up, and this will likely cause a golden cross in the near future. So next week or two, we'll probably see that intersect. That could drive up the price even further. There's this interesting little hype train that happens with golden crosses. Furthermore, RSI is still under 70, so we have much more room for growth. This is fantastic, because if you look in the past here, it spent some time above 70 when it was going on its first initial bull run. So it definitely has the propensity to do well and to continue on. Furthermore, we also have a MACD convergence that just occurred yesterday, so it's allowed for the price action to continue upwards today. Obviously, Bitcoin doing well is the other catalyst, the other reason why this is doing well, don't get me wrong. Without that, we wouldn't be here, but keep in mind, without Bitcoin, we wouldn't have went all the way down as well. So cool thing is we got a better buying opportunity down around $11. Thankfully, I was able to send out a signal to my patrons. We got in a little earlier, but generally speaking, at this point right now, I still think it's fairly good value. Might be a little overextended. We'll take a look at shorter time frames, but generally speaking, I think big picture here, SNX still has a lot of room for growth. I think it's very likely this year it will break its previous all-time high. So I think we're going to see 27 plus this year. I'm confident of that. But for right now, we're at about 15. So hypothetically, you get in right now, you're going to be able to, somewhere in the range of 1.5 to 2x your investment, depending on how far it goes. I think there's a strong chance of that. So I'll just open it up with my prediction. That's kind of what I'm guessing will happen. How soon will it happen? Hard to say. As we can see, it goes on these significant tears. So the bottom line here is that if Bitcoin can continue this little bit of velocity, keep moving towards 50,000, I think SNX will continue to follow. Just maybe add a trailing stop loss or keep moving up your stop loss, if nothing else, to break even right around support. So that way, if you got in prior to, or even just so you got in at that point, move your stop loss right there. There's a good chance that it will not come all the way back down to that support, but if it does, it'll at least bounce and likely continue upwards. All right, moving on to the 4-hour. Let's take a look here. As we can see, this is actually a very healthy run. I like this a lot. So you can see the price jumped up, okay? Comes over, up over, and it's continuing the staircase pattern. So we want to see the price go sideways here for a little bit longer in order for this to continue, okay? So I'm not concerned with the price action being where it's at. It's just that it is a little on the overextended side. We can see here on the RSI that the price is up over 70. So when you see an RSI over 70 on the 4-hour chart, but it's below on the 1-day chart, there's still room for growth. However, it could very well get stunted out here soon. I'm willing to guess that we are, a little too high. If we look at the 1-hour chart of TD sequential, which we will do soon, I'm speculating we're right at a 9, just based on this movement alone. We'll see though. MACD didn't converge today, but it did previously on the 13th, so it kind of gave us our initial buy signal. That I believe is a good time to have gotten in. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but you always look for a convergence on a MACD on the 4-hour chart to identify a breakout. Those are really, really good tools to use. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick look here at the 1-hour. And we'll see what I was talking about here. First of all, quickly, before we look at TD sequential, we're above the cloud, which is nice. So if the price does continue to go sideways, it could bounce off the cloud and continue upwards. It does work as a support level sometimes, and that's really cool news. So all in all, things are looking good here. Just keep in mind, when the MACD converged back here on the 13th, it's almost the exact same time the Ichimoku cloud jumped above. So when the price is above the cloud, if you're new to the channel, it's considered a buy signal. When it's below, it's considered a sell signal. Okay, so we're all in very good territory here, but we want to look at the Tom DeMark sequential. TD sequential is going to probably tell us we're at a 9 plus. Let's see. So looking at TD sequential, yep, there we go. A little bit overtime here. And what I mean by that is if you're new to the channel, I'll just treat this as if you haven't heard this before. If you have, I'm so sorry. Maybe just to get this imprinted in your brain. TD sequential is a great tool to identify market exhaustion. It's specifically used on the 1 hour chart. It more so uses it's more beneficial for me on the 1 hour chart. You can use it in the 4 hour or the 1 day, but it is helpful to understand, like, okay, in these last 9 hours, right, we've had a significant increase in price, whereas the bulls have pushed really hard. And in order for the price not to come back down, we want to see the price go sideways, or it might retrace. But more often than not, when you count up to a 9, the price will kind of go sideways or come back down. You look back here, for example, when the price was going down, it counted down to a 9. Continued down a little bit further, yes, but it eventually made its way back up. Here you see a 1 all the way to an 8, got reset, no big deal, went sideways, consolidated, came up to a 7, more consolidation. So hypothetically, we see another, 5 to 10 candlesticks worth of sideways action. That's a perfect thing. We want that because, again, we're above the support level here of 1360 now. We want to keep the price above that as well, right? Have that work as a support level and push the price up even further once the bears are exhausted and the bulls have a chance to come back in for another third run up, okay? So all in all, we're looking good here. I think there's a strong likelihood of another leg up. I just want to see some consolidation before that happens. If it doesn't, there's a good chance, if just say, for example, the price just keeps shooting up right now, it goes up to $16, $17, $18. Just take your profits because it will probably come back down to somewhere close to where it's at right now because it's overextended right now, and the likelihood of it continuing upwards is fairly low unless there's like a massive short squeeze that occurs, but you typically don't see short squeezes at this point in the game, okay? Therefore, all in all, SNX looks very good right now. I really like it. I think it's going to continue upwards, but I personally foresee it going sideways in order for it to be, again, considered a healthy run here. So we want to see something like this so the price can go up there, all right? All right, so let's take a quick look at the 15 so we can find a good entry point for you. Pretty much any point right now is a good entry, for lack of better terms, and the main reason why I say that is because, first of all, long-term potential, this has a lot of good potential. It's going to probably get to where it previously capped out. Because you think about it, SNX got to, what is it? It was $27? Is that what I said it was? It got to $27. Yep. When Bitcoin was, wow, look at that. That was back in February. So when Bitcoin was only like 40, 50,000, it was hitting that number right there. Now, it had to retrace because it came up too quickly, right? But the bottom line here is that it only sold off and got as low as it did recently based on the simple fact that a lot of major candlesticks occurred. So we have this, May 19th, that's the China candle. So it was trying to make another leg up. It got rejected there. Prior to that, we got April 17th. This drove the price down further. So it was a nice state of consolidation between 17 and 23. But unfortunately, those cause of events drove the price down all the way down to about 550. So honestly, right now, $15 when Bitcoin's at 48,000, that's a steal. I think that's very well worth it. So these are those little things I like to look at to identify if it, coin's valuable or not. And to me, I think right now is a good entry point. It's as good as any because I do feel like it's going to consolidate. Heaven forbid it comes down to 13 and bounces. You're still going to be you're still going to be profitable within a few days. So I don't think we're going to see this significantly retrace. I think it might, to an extent because it does have a tendency of peaks and valleys. You see these ups and downs, but as long as you don't have like a really tight stop loss, I think you'll be in pretty good shape. And by the way, too, future reference, I get this question a lot from my patrons. When it comes to a stop loss, don't always just go with 10%, right? Because that's kind of the common rule of thumb is like a 10% stop loss. Because you got to keep in mind, altcoins respond to Bitcoin, 1.5, 2.5, almost 3 times as much, right? So when Bitcoin goes up just by 100, or just say 10%, SNX could very well go up 20%. Okay. Therefore, when Bitcoin sells off by 19% like it did on the 17th, we saw a 30 to 40% retracement for a lot of altcoins. So I would recommend not having just a static 10% for all altcoins. Every situation is different. Try to look at that and understand that it could happen. That's why I always recommend moving up your stop loss as you take profit. Take profit, adjust your stop loss. Take profit, adjust your stop loss. Get used to that habit so you can always take profit, okay? And that's an alert telling me I need to look at another coin. I'll finish this first, probably send a signal to my community members here. That being said, back to the 15-minute chart. Looking at here, honestly, the price is over VWAP. There's a large variation here, so that if that standard deviation is over 10%, okay, it's at 8%, not terrible. We're in pretty good shape, because if we were to look at the standard deviation here, you can see the price. If it gets too far outside of this comfort zone, this 9, this like, it's I would say close to 10% is when it starts getting crazy. Then we have retracements that tend to occur. Okay, so again, SNX, yes, a little bit on the overextended side, but it's also very healthy because it had time to consolidate. And this standard deviation got a chance to calm down. Okay, so again, that's just the VWAP. It has standard deviation lines. They reset every 24 hours. So at 5 p.m. Pacific, you'll see that line kind of meet with the price action and kind of try again. And that just kind of, it's really nice because it resets with the one-day candlestick. So you always know specifically, if you met your goal for the resistance or support levels. Again, we're well over support or well over resistance right now. Therefore, this will probably become a support at 1360. By the time you watch this video, it'll probably be a support and we'll probably be good. Regardless, though, back to the VWAP, basically telling us it's working as a support. So if the price does come down, it'll probably balance out the VWAP or EMA first before it comes all the way down to 1360. That's why I feel that right now is still a good entry point, because yes, it may retrace $1 or $2, but you'll probably still recover that eventually soon. Unless, again, keep this in mind, if Bitcoin tanks and goes south straight to 40,000 today or tomorrow, this doesn't matter. This won't matter. This is why you want to look at Bitcoin, understand what it's doing. So anytime you do analysis, look at Bitcoin first, because if it's giving you signals that it's going to retrace, then obviously you might want to consider selling some of your altcoins, right? You were able to do that probably with ADA recently too, because that's been selling off pretty heavy, it was overextended. So if you hadn't caught that and you didn't look at Bitcoin first, you might have missed out on an opportunity. Yeah, that's just an example, poor example, of course, because it's, hindsight's 2020, I recognize that, but just pay attention to Bitcoin beforehand. So we're not out of the woodwork here, don't get me wrong, we're not out of the clear or in the clear, so to speak, but I think SNX is looking very good to continue this, pending Bitcoin at least goes sideways. Just pay attention to Bitcoin, because that really helps us. That's a big catalyst right now. But yeah, we're looking pretty good here, honestly. But again, keep this in mind, Bitcoin's trending towards 48,500. Bitcoin's still progressing upwards while this one is too. As soon as Bitcoin starts trailing off, this could sell off. So if by the time you watch this video, just say, for example, you see Bitcoin closer to 48,000, 47,000, it's coming down to test support of 46,800, hold off on taking entry here, wait for it to come close to support at 1360, and then take entry there. So maybe consider doing a buy limit order right close to support, so you can kind of take entry at a better profit margin to ensure that you have a better lower average essentially. Okay, just something to consider. But all in all, SNX looks great. I think it's a good long-term investment. So again, my prediction next couple of months, I think will be somewhere at least in the range of 18 to 20. And I think we're looking good, but more so swing trading. I mean, I believe I sent out a signal to my community, and I think like 25 is one of my first profit targets for this coin. I think it's very likely it's going to get to there based on the simple fact that it has really strong momentum and has done very well in the past, even when Bitcoin was doing average, if you will, right? Because it literally hit $27 when Bitcoin was at 45, 50,000. We're there right now, and we're barely even halfway there, if you will, right? Okay, so just again, something to think about. And again, if you like what you saw here and you learned here today, I use this every single day in my trading. Check out the link in the description below for my Patron account. We have almost 50 members already, and what I do is I provide all of my trades as signals, and I send out a signal to let you know when I'm taking entry. We all kind of learn and grow together, and I have, again, about an 80% success rate overall. So it's been a very great, profitable experience for everyone, and I'm really happy to be part of this here. So again, thank you so much to my community members for recommending they cover this coin and supporting me so far in this time. It's only been a couple months, yes, I realize that, but we've all grown and had some really good times, and I really appreciate that. So check that out again in your own time. And thank you again to my members. We'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.